This has been the most fulfilling thing that I have done so far in my life. I quit my corporate job only a few days ago to be a full-time homemaker. What the heck is a homemaker? It is what makes our house run. It's what makes everything go smoothly, and I am loving it. A lot of people think of homemaker and they think of a specific look or a specific belief in something, but you can be a homemaker where you are right now. It's that role of making sure that you're pouring love into the house, you're taking care of your family, making sure everything in your house is running smoothly, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are doing. Today I'm going to take you along with me. I can show you guys exactly what my new job is. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am loving this new role. I cannot even tell you how great it is. I was just talking with my girlfriend, and her and I were talking about all the things that bother so many of us today, and I'm sure you guys can relate. There has been this shift, and I really think since COVID, since 2020, people have started to really take an inventory on their life and what's important. And we hear a lot of times that like the millennial generation and anything younger, they just don't have a work ethic. But I really think that people are starting to understand the value of being home and being a homemaker. And I think women in particular are starting to make a shift. We've heard for so long the phrase girl boss, and I really think that people are starting to realize that our role as women is really served best in the home. It might sound crazy, but I think that pendulum is starting to swing the other way, where women are starting to want to be home with their kids and really taking their role as a homemaker seriously. I know so many moms that have stepped out of the corporate world to be home with their families, and I am not surprised. I mean, why would we want to have these babies and not be able to raise them? To me, it just sounds and seems so backwards that we have babies and then as soon as they're 8 weeks old, they're going to daycare and basically being raised by someone else. Personally, I don't want that for my kids. With my son, that's kind of what happened. And I look back and I regret all of it. I wish I could have stayed home with him and raised him. And I feel like I missed that connection with him that, you know, so many moms talk about, because I was working a corporate job. I would come home, I would only see him for a little bit, and gosh, I don't I don't wish that on anyone. If you are a corporate worker, mom, and you love that, then go for it. Good for you. But that's just not me. That's not how I'm feeling lately. And I think a lot of moms are starting to realize that that girl boss can still happen, even if it's in the home, being a homemaker.
The first thing on today's agenda is to process our beets. This is the first time that we've grown beets, and Andrew has started to drink a lot of beet juice lately. It has so many health benefits, but I decided that I'm going to just juice it, put it in Ziploc bags, and put it in the freezer. It says on the internet that it can last up to like 12 months in the freezer. We're definitely not going to leave it in there that long, but I figured it was going to be the best bet to preserving it. Then I looked in the fridge and realized we have some oranges and apples that could also be preserved in the same way. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and juice those, put them in Ziploc bags, and put them in the freezer. If you do this, one thing I recommend is when you put them in the freezer to put them in some sort of bowl or container. These are like the cheap Ziploc bags, and when I tried to just lay them in my freezer, they actually leaked a little bit. So just make sure to put them in a bowl until they're completely frozen, and then that way you're not going to get juices leaking anywhere in your freezer and have to clean everything out. But yeah, I got quite a few bags of juice. Then I came out to the barn. It's time to feed everyone. What we have in the barn right now is just turkeys, chickens, and pigs. We do have our bees on the back side of the barn. And our goal for the next year is to really hone in our skills when it comes to raising chickens. And we really want to hone in on our skills on beekeeping. I think what we've done in the past is we went all in, which is so easy to do when you're farming or homesteading, is to just get all the kinds of animals that you want because you have this land and you're like, well, we could do that. We could do that. When really, it is very, very overwhelming. So we decided that we're just going to really focus on becoming really good chicken keepers and beekeepers. That way we can perfect our skills and actually get something out of the animals that we have. Sometimes this job is not the most glamorous. It might mean picking up poop or taking out the garbage, especially with kids. Wiping butts is one of my main things that I do. Our life here on this farm or homestead has taught me so much. I thought I was going to move on to this farm and I was going to be able to do all the things. And I realized that I was missing so many skills that were important for our success here on the homestead. And my goal is to give my kids those skills that they can carry throughout their life, even if they don't want to farm or homestead. They'll still know how to do some of the things that I think are very important in life. They'll know how to grow their own food if they need to, whether that's livestock or just growing a garden. They'll know how to forage for herbs and different plants to use as medicine. They'll know how to use equipment and fix equipment if need be. This is a skill that I am really trying to learn right now. Andrew is really wanting me to learn how to run the tractor. And I don't know why, but it just scares me. And I need to get over that and learn how to do it. There's so much value in being able to run all of your equipment on the farm. For example, what if something happened to Andrew and he wouldn't be able to run the tractor? I need to be able to do that. Not everyone's dream or goal is to have a homestead or to garden, but whatever your goals are and whatever you think is valuable, I think teach it to your kids because there's a reason why you feel that skill is valuable to you, and I'm sure your kids will use it in their life regardless of what it is. I try to involve Colton a lot in the stuff that I do around the house because I want him to be a good husband or partner when he grows up. So I have him usually help me with putting laundry in, and then he's always out in the garden with me. He really enjoys picking tomatoes. He enjoys going to pick blueberries. He just asks what color to pick, and then I tell him, the red tomatoes he can pick or the blackberries he can pick, and he really loves doing that. A lot of times he's eating them, but at least he knows when food is ripe. I love to preserve things in the freezer and in Ziploc bags. It is just one of the easiest things, I think, and it doesn't take canning. It doesn't take any time to process it. But my plan for this year is really to freeze all of my tomatoes until the end of the year and then do a whole weekend of just processing them. I just don't have time right now to process food every other day. So a lot of this is just being frozen with Ziploc bags. One tip that I will say if you're going to start freezing stuff is to make sure to label your bags. I always put the name of what it is and then the date because believe it or not, some things will sit in my freezer for a long time. And I think year after year, if you forget to use the oldest stuff first, you could just end up leaving something in your freezer for a really long time. And that's not the plan. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today. Like I said, this new role as a homemaker is just filling my heart. I'll see you in our next video. Bye, friends.